Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. My name is Ashok Veda. Today, we are here to learn from the success story of. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. My name is Ashok Veda. Apologies, I was playing the YouTube on the other side. All right. So today we are here to learn from the success story of Mr. Sai Dinesh, who has been who completed the course from DataMites, and now he joined as a junior data scientist in Digitab.ai through the placement services. Uh, Sai Dinesh, thank you very much for joining. Is it possible to start your video, Dinesh?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Okay, great. Yes, Dinesh. We'll start with a open question. Just explain your profile. Where did you start? What was your what inspired you to even think about a career in data science, and how do you pursue your learning? And then maybe till there. Thank you, Dinesh.
Yeah. So being a mechanical graduate, I'm graduated in 2020. So during my final years of engineering, I was actually introduced to machine learning because the curriculum was getting changed because we were getting introduced to new technologies. So we had a crash course of around 4 weeks in machine learning through our college, and that was the initiation of machine learning in my life, because until then I didn't know what is like machine learning or anything about data science. So post the completion of my course, I joined DataMites for the training of data science. So I had completed my certification from DataMites as a data scientist, and I have also doing a certification. I've written the exam of AI expert as well. So the curriculum which and all everything which they provided actually helped me throughout my journey, like being from a mechanical graduate. So I didn't have any idea in this field. So yeah, that was that journey as of now.
All right, great. So when you said it's from mechanical background, I see more than 50-60% are actually coming from mechanical background. I'm a bit curious. So why is that the majority of the data scientists are coming from mechanical background? What is your motive?
When I was like, we love to play with technologies, like machine learning is nothing but like we are like in love with machines. So basically that's what we do, mechanical, right? So when these machines which are tangible, they are taught in mechanical, but the machines which are intangible, like which cannot be scalable, the calculations and everything which is happening in the real world, which is actually helping to solve problems in the real world, the technology is just amazing. So that was like a leap from completely from intangible to a tangible to an intangible technology.
Yeah, true. And also, when you look at the opportunities for,
Exactly.
for the mechanical domain in AI is quite high as well
Yes.
with the mechanical vertical with the data science, right? And also, well,
Yes.
um, great. When you thought about switching, how was your development of programming skills? Or do you have a programming skills before you started your journey towards data science? Or
As such, I was like not completely had any experience, but as I told, I had done my crash course and during my final year in my college, I was just introduced to programming. Initially I felt like, yeah, it might be like little bit difficult because usually in mechanical even we use softwares, but it was kind of like a little bit of difference between Python and ANSYS, which I used to do MATLAB in our during my mechanical bachelor's. So yeah, so that was the initiation. And post, when I joined DataMites, everything was like taught from scratch. So I had to like kind of recap on Python and everything.
all right, great. So you had a different language, like the basic language of ANSI. Apart from, you do not
Yes.
have any direct programming.
No advanced languages like Python and all.
Okay, wonderful. How did you feel? Was it difficult to learn Python being a non-programmer?
Like we had basics of C in the beginning in the first year of engineering, but yeah, Python as we got introduced was a high level language, and when we came to know that it can be learned like pretty much quickly, it doesn't need much time, but yeah, it needs practice to be consistent in that. So yeah, it was not that difficult, but it's kind of like easy.
How many hours you spend per day, and how long it took you to get a hang of Python for data science?
Initially, I used to like go around through like coding around 2 3 hours a day. But then the challenges which I faced, like first of all, I started initially with from the scratch from Python by concept. Then I caught hang of a project. Then like whichever like problems which I faced, I was trying to just like debugging them on all the problems wherever it occurred, and that was like it created more curiosity in me. Like why is this has to be done like this or like that?
All right, great. So can I say it's about a month? Did you take a month, or how long it was to get comfortable with Python?
Yeah, month and a half.
Month and a half. All right, great. Well, I do know because I'm from engineering, from electronics, but I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are from mechanical. That you guys have, um, a complex mathematics, equations, thermodynamics, etc.
Yes, yes.
Do you think that actually helps mechanical people to get the hang of maths better? Because is that something which helped you?
Uh, to be honest, it like helped me like to understand concepts which actually like where we need more maths to like understand. Like if you consider in deep learning, right? The algorithms which and all, like the calculations which happen within the algorithm, we need maths to understand. So yeah, I got little help from my technical side from my bachelor's there. Yeah,
Okay. So it's not that much of math, but the basic of derivatives and stuff like that
exactly,
is good enough,
exactly.
isn't it? Okay. Okay, wonderful. So, well, you took a month to get a hang of Python and you have a bit of maths background.
Yes, sir.
How long it actually took to get a hang of machine learning while learning with DataMites? How many months?
Uh,
Yeah, weeks, maybe.
I still remember the first day when Hemant sir actually told that tomorrow we'll learn machine learning. That was like we were like waiting when the machine learning will start. So eventually when we got into it, it was like nothing. It was just like cakewalk because the concepts which the way they thought was like in simple terms to be like whatever what the concepts which are like has to be explained in a simple way. We were like explained, so I didn't feel much difficulty in understanding machine learning.
Okay, that's wonderful. Good to hear. Um, yeah, it's true because it's more applied because you're not really creating any new algorithm.
Exactly.
You're applying the algorithms for the data for the use case.
Yes.
Okay, great, wonderful. Um, what kind of projects you have done while learning data science? Learning projects, I mean.
So I have take like projects which I had taken as one was NBA and NBA which is belonging to sports sector, and one was time series project which was of COVID, and one was handwritten digits which was a deep learning project, and one more was heart disease prediction from a medical background. So yeah, those were the projects.
Okay, that's great. Have you done a live project? Any project which is okay? So let me ask this. Um, okay, so after you have completed your learning and the projects,
Yes.
when did you actually start applying for jobs?
Like I finished my certification in data science, then I was like more interested to like furthermore dive deep into the concepts of deep learning because uh, I had to know like inside out of what is happening with the data, why algorithms perform at such scale. So much of task has been like simplified, right? So post my certification, I was like assisted with placement assistance team from DataMites. So I would like to thank Farzana ma'am. So as soon as I completed, I was getting bombarded with a lot of opportunities, to be honest. So yeah.
That's very good. So you did not. Okay, so it's essentially the patch services which helped you, right? You
Right.
Okay? So that's good. You haven't applied through any other channels like Naukri or LinkedIn.
My first job was through patch services, and later I just switched through applying jobs in LinkedIn.
Okay. So the one which you are currently moving to, is it coming from the LinkedIn or it's coming from the patch?
LinkedIn.
Okay, it's coming from the LinkedIn. Okay. What was the first job you got?
As a data scientist in examroom.ai, junior data scientist.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great. So that's very good to know.
Thank you.
Right. So what is your experience like? How many interviews you have attended before you got into the first and the second job?
Oh, to be honest, like I have attended almost around 4 to 5 interviews before landing into examroom.ai.
Right.
So the like I was more into like looking into company's objective, like what it is actually working into. So I like the description of exam room, so I had to take that.
Wonderful. Okay, so what kind of questions you usually face in this interview? So considering that you are coming as a fresher, do you have a
Right.
prior experience, mechanical experience before this, or
No, no.
okay, you're a fresher. So
Yes.
considering this, you are a fresher from mechanical background, just completed your learning of data science and AI. What kind of questions you have faced in interviews?
So mainly the interview, how the it actually goes through a process. So the first thing what they're gonna ask you is basics of Python, like differences, like from the basics, like data structures and all that stuff. Then they eventually move into machine learning, and depending on the job description, they might ask you on like they might further dive deep into like concepts of deep learning and algorithms. They might ask what is the regularization, or what is like overfitting or underfitting and all that stuff. And yeah, and the projects which we have like mentioned in the resume, they main the questions like are revolving mainly vicinity of that.
Okay, so so they start with Python. Do they have also statistics-based questions?
Yes, sometimes I face statistics based questions, but most of the times no.
Okay, great. And how deep they go into machine learning concepts? What kind of questions you get in machine learnings? Maybe a few examples would help.
uh Mainly they might ask like situational based questions, like okay, you are given with some kind of data, right? So being a machine learning engineer, how would you think, like what is your think process, or what is your approach to the problem? That is the one which they mainly ask. And coming to machine learning part, they ask about what is a difference between linear regression and a logistic regression, because both have regression, but the task which they are doing is right opposite, because the one is doing for uh, uh, numerical data, and one is for classification. So yeah, so it depends basically, like we cannot like hard pass rule is that like these questions might be asked, but knowing the concepts in and out might help.
Yeah, but definitely they're not going to ask you to explain the mathematical formula behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's something which I also tell the aspirants that no one actually is looking for your knowledge on how a machine learning mathematics work. Well, they might ask a few
Right.
questions to see how strong are you, or to shake you to see if you really understand the machine learning applied data science as a field. But if you really look at the work we do as a data scientist or ML or AI engineer, it's about applying this algorithm to make sense of from the data, right? Bringing
Yes.
insights, doing predictions, classifications, regressions. Most of the work goes into understanding the business case itself, and also understanding the data and transforming it. That's the huge task. And it's mostly, I would say, 60-70% googling. So
Yeah.
when we do an AI project, we first look at what are the similar projects already been done, look at the GitHub repositories, start from there. So as Dinesh says, you'll very rarely people ask you to explain the mathematics in detail, or
Behind
even
the algorithms. Yes.
True, and also no one will ask you to write the code about ML. That's very very rare case. If someone is trying to do it, it's just trying to understand your confidence, nothing more than that. That's great, Dinesh. So okay, how long these interviews usually like? What's your average interview time?
Typically, it might last up to 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes.
Okay, and you did fail in the few first interviews, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, what was the learning from those failures? Where were you lacking, and how did you make it up?
Like every failure is like a step towards success, because once you fail, you get to know what kind of questions you could face in the interview in the real time, right? Because there is no documented way of questions which the interview gonna ask to a person. So yeah, eventually you will, at some point of time after few failures, you'll get to know like which one concepts you have to like focus more on to, and how to tackle the questions in a better way.
Right. Okay. Specifically, what of the areas you would have brushed or reviewed after your first interviews? Anything you particularly went back and learned again?
Yeah, basics of Python.
Okay, so it comes to basics of Python. All right,
Yes.
that's great. Um, okay, very good. So, what's your general message? So there are. I mean, I know from my analysis, from my own the people who I'm interacting, more than 50% people are coming from non IT background, right?
Yeah.
Non-computer science, right? Especially, I mean, majority are from mechanical, as I said in the beginning, but there are also people coming from, metallurgy and civil and other things who are from engineering, some arts, of course, but
Yeah.
mostly mechanical. What's your message to them?
uh my message would be simple, like if you have interest, like you can do it. There is nothing like star like difficult or anything in this.
Okay, so that's a pretty straightforward message. Just to echo that, I have seen DataMites team has placed at least minimum of 10 mechanical people in this last few months. As I know, it could be more, but
Yes.
all of the people have the very similar message as Dinesh has said. It just looks like it's a completely different field, but you get into it. Mechanical industry is one of the, you may not land up in the mechanical industry as such or anything related to that. You don't have to land in manufacturing, but people who are coming from this domain are very well adapting the data science and AI comfortably and start performing in various different domains. In fact, there are a lot of people who went into the automotive manufacturers, design, marketing, data analysis, product analysis, and many other things, right? Your mechanical background as such really helps in data science. So it's not about switching into completely different things. Of course, you're getting a new skill, but it's actually a forward looking. It helps you to use your mechanical skills as well. That's all, Dinesh. I don't have any questions. Pretty straightforward. I congratulate you and I wish you all the best. Let's see if I have
Thank
any.
you.
Let's see if I have any questions from any of the channels. Give me a
Sure.
sec. Um, okay, we are streaming in YouTube. We have about 50 users. Yeah, I have a few questions in YouTube. Okay, there's a question from Sanjay Raja in
Yeah.
YouTube. He is asking, how does the books given by DataMites helped in your preparation? The books and the content. Specific questions on validating DataMites. Please, Dinesh.
Okay. So yeah, I was like attending the classroom sessions. So basically, to be honest, data science is a huge topic to cover in entire one or particular stipulated time, right? So there we were getting introduced to key concepts which we had to work on. So for example, if we are studying about linear regression, right? So we used to go and we were getting introduced to the types of tuning and hyperparameter tuning and all that stuff. So these were like actually told us, and the recorded sessions were also available for later purposes. So yeah, after getting back home, I used to research on my own. Like I wanted to know out of pure interest, like what is this, why it is happening, what is the kind of techniques which we can improve the algorithm and all that stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So maybe I'll just repeat the question. So have you? I know there is a lot of material to be covered. Did you also looked into any other books, any other materials you referred apart from what DataMites provide?
Uh, I was like following YouTube channels and O'Reilly textbook, which was recommended by our lecturer who was like handling us in DataMites.
Okay. Okay. Right. So orally book is what we prefer a lot. Um,
Yes,
okay. I'll just okay. That's good. I think that answers the question. Just be online. I'll pick up another question.
sure.
Yeah, Dinesh, there are a couple of questions which I wanted to avoid, but they've been asking, what's your
Yeah.
package? So there's a question in LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So if you are comfortable, then you can just disclose your package and it might be inspiring for people. Yeah, give an indication.
Uh, as I can tell, it's like best in the like as average data scientist gets paid like in the industry, which is in between 5 to 10. So yeah,
So
I
I
will
can
not
tell.
give the exact figure, but average salary depends between 5 to 10 LPA.
So yeah, I know his package. It's somewhere in the middle between 5 to 10. Obviously, it also violates the other employee's contract, but it is actually in the higher side of someone who gets as a fresher for Dinesh. But I also have people. Dinesh is in the higher side. He's in between 5 to 10. It's 6 plus. But I also have people who got 4.5, who got even 8 plus, who even started with 11 lakhs in Practo. One of the person who is also a fresher, right? Uh, my message for the people who are asking the salary, it will be around 6 7. That's very normal, right? But even if it is 3, for example, that's not bad. Because when you start learning, you should not look into the salary, you should look into the kind of work. Also, remember the Dinesh message in the beginning. He was talking about I validated the company, their work, what they're doing, right? What not they're paying, right? What kind of work you will be doing in the company at the beginning is really important when compared to the salary. As said,
Yes.
the salaries are easily 2 to 3 times of higher than the other fresher salaries you look at. But again, I should tell we have a we look into salary. I'm not blaming. It's a developing country, so salary is first. I don't blame when someone is really interested in salary, but I insist not to look at the salary, but the kind of work you start with, because you can reach heights of your salary based on the kind of learning you have it in first 2 3 years. So the work is more important than the salary. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Thank you, Dinesh.
Yeah.
I also have other questions. I'll just pick up the relevant ones.
Sure.
Okay, so there's so in the Zoom itself we have a question from Lewis. My question is, I mean, the Lewis question is did you have at any time during the studies as a beginner feel discouraged or think you know nothing after learning a lot of concepts? And if yes, how did you overcome? That's a very good question, Lewis. Dinesh.
Yeah. So first, my answer would be like in the beginning, yes, you will feel discouraged. But the thing is, you have to overcome that fear first, because once you get in front of your fear, now you can learn and do wonderful things in life. Because that's the first battle which you're losing, fearing that you will not perform well in this industry. But once you like leave it behind and start getting deep, concentrating on the concepts and all, you can like do wonders.
That's a wonderful message. To add to this, I've been doing this success story for past 6 months with DataMites.
Yeah.
One thing I learned: everyone who has succeeded have failed multiple times before. The only reason they succeeded is they didn't give up.
Yeah.
That's the only line. I mean, it's not, I'm saying a lot of philosophers say, a lot of quotations and quotes say that, but it is not just quotations. It is true. Failures are stepping stones, and every single interview failure you have, you actually have learned what you don't know, and you just focus on it. And especially when you're learning, I want to be very specific on Lewis' question. Data science is an ocean. At some point
Yeah.
of time, you feel like, I mean, can I really do it, or can I master these concepts? That question, that doubt arises in most of the aspirants and learners. But I can assure you, because I have trained myself 15,000 people past 6 years, this is not something which is difficult to do. This is an applied field, and it is pretty easy when compared to many other skills you learn in the market, right? So, and also you don't have to really learn the entire the breadth of data science. You just need a specific end-to-end concepts, key concepts of machine learning, and then when you get into a job, then you start learning. It's not like you learn and get the job. It's actually, even for Dinesh, your actual learning starts now,
Yeah.
right? So what you need to get into the job is the fundamentals, a strong fundamentals. And someone feels discouraged is mostly because they have looked into the all the syllabus and stuff. They're like, oh my god, it is very vast. But that's not true, right? Thank you, Dinesh. Lewis, thank you for asking question. We have more questions in Zoom itself.
Sure.
From Sarvesh has a question: what are the sources we have to go through other than what they teach in the classes? Tell me the other sources. I mean, I'll say that you don't. I mean, if you cover the topics in DataMites, that's already good enough. But the question is to you, Dinesh. Go ahead.
Uh, as I told, like it depends on your curiosity. Like when you search in YouTube, you get very good channels like Code Basics, and there are a lot of like it's an open source community, so you won't find any difficulty finding any like sources to study. Like the first thing which I'll tell is like take up a project, start working on it, and wherever you are like getting stuck, and try to resolving it. Right, that is the best way to learn. So in the other hand, keep learning the basics and get a hold of the basics first clearly, then try to apply on the problems which you like gets arise during the project, and yeah, you might solve it eventually.
Okay. Thank you. So, Sarvesh, as Dinesh said, a lot of YouTube channels are very good now. You have to choose the one which you like. You like the presenter, and then you start learning it in his own way, right? Second,
Yes.
Kaggle is a very good area where a
Yeah.
lot of people discuss about the how do you better the algorithm, what are the techniques can be applied. If you diligently follow at least 4 to 5 Kaggle competition, it could be an ended one or it could be a live one, right? Doesn't matter. If you follow the Kaggle competition, go through the discussions, understand the code, maybe redo it and compare it, that is really good learning. If you can do that, then I think after that you are on your own. Then you know where you're going and you can find a better channel by yourself. So Kaggle is my recommendation. All right, so I have questions from Rajaram. He says, can I get a job as a fresher? Yes, absolutely. I'm seeing at least a few tens of people per month, uh, freshers getting into data science who are being trained by me directly or indirectly, Ram. And Dinesh is just before you. He is here to share his experience as a fresher getting into data science. The answer is simple yes. Mohammed has a question. What if a person join a non-IT domain? How can he manage himself? What if a person doing in a non-IT domain? Okay, see, as I said, 70% people are coming from non-IT domain. So I already answered the question. Well, this is more about data. Data is more about analytics. It literally comes to your common sense. If I'm not oversimplifying it, but I see people who have a good common sense, good analytical skills. Doesn't matter whether they are from IT, non-IT, or any domain. They do great in data science. So that's how it is. So it's definitely not related to an IT domain as such. Yes, of course, you need to learn a Python a bit because a lot of packages are in Python. That's a matter of few weeks to a month or a month and off, Mohammed. Ankita has a question. To get a job in data science, did we need to learn both machine learning and deep learning? Dinesh, you can answer, then I will add to it.
Yeah. When basically you are like looking a job in data science, data science is actually uh it is like what can I say? It's like deep learning, machine learning are subsets of data science. So it depends on for which company you're giving an interview or like for which role you're looking for. So if you're looking for an AI ML engineer, yes, deep learning is necessary. But for a data scientist role, you need more analytical and visualization skills, which are like how can I say ADA and good SQL skills and all. Yeah.
Right. So to add to it, 80-85% jobs are into pure machine learning, which is transforming the data, doing classification or regression.
Yes.
15-20% are into deep learning. So specifically when you're looking for AI engineer or the one which goes into computer vision or natural language processing or stuff like that, then you need a deep learning. Majority of the jobs are into machine learning
Machine learning.
and data analysis. Ankita. Nilesh has a question. Knowing maths and stats well in advance helps in data science. Well, of course, I don't have to ask Dinesh for that. If it comes to weightage compared to Python, math, stat, how much you give to both? Okay. Okay, then I'll put it back to you. So
Correct.
they're asking weightage you give to Python knowledge and stats or maths.
Statistics would help you, like, these two have different roles, to be honest. Like, statistics will help you to judge the data, like what you have to do with the data, and Python would actually help you to do what you want to do with the data. So there are two different things. So you have to, being a data scientist, you have to make the decisions, like whether this data is viable for analysis or not, or depends on your analysis. So to integrate that, to teach machine, you need Python. So I think it's an equal weightage between statistics and Python.
Okay, well said. Nothing to add to that. Thank you, Dinesh.
Yeah.
Sweta has a question. Is career gap considered in job? I will take that, Dinesh. You don't have a career gap because do you have a career gap? I mean, after education, it's the first job, right?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you can give the answer. I'll add to it.
So yeah, as I finished my graduation in 2020, and I have been like, since then I have been working on my skills, like developing skills. So as far as my experience, I'll tell you is, like, don't sit idle, just keep improvising your skills towards data science, and yeah, that would help you, like, in future for landing a job easily.
Okay. To add to that, I'll take this question as two different things. First, career gap is you haven't even begun the career after education, you had a gap. Okay. Frankly, that doesn't matter because a lot of people, when you're switching from your whatever domain you're learning new skills, you might have 1 or 2 years gap. Maybe you're cautious about taking your first step. That's not a concern at all. That's not any concern for any employer. Second, you worked in some domain, you quit it, and then you took a leave for a few years. If you have a genuine reason, let's say you have took a maternity leave, that's one of the things I usually hear from female aspirants, right? Or you didn't like, you tried farming or something else, you tried your own business. If there is a valid reason for your gap, that's not a problem. That actually shows that you are a curious person. You want to try new things. That's exactly the skill we needed for a data scientist. So until you can justify your gap, and also maybe 6 months you've been an intern or you're doing some into data science by your own projects, that's absolutely not a concern, Sweta. I can tell you from my experience of 6 years with DataMites and mentoring students. Okay, I have a few more questions. Mohammed has a question. I'm doing an ordinary job. Okay, first of all, I should say there is nothing like ordinary and extraordinary jobs in the world. Every job is a job. But I'll continue with the question. I have an
Yeah.
IT background. I want to become a data scientist. How do I manage my job? Okay, so your question is more specifically how many hours I need to put per day. Dinesh, how many hours you put per day when you're learning data science?
Like in the beginning, I used to, like, put around 3 to 4 hours a day working on learning new concepts and all, and I used to, like, practice them for another 2 3 hours.
Right. So about 4 to 5 hours is what Dinesh has
Yeah.
spent. Mohammed, if you can take out 3 to 4 hours and about 5 months consistently, that is good enough to get the enough skills to get into data science. This is an average from my own data analysis, Mohammed. Okay. And most of the people do while working. So another small tip, anyway, you are planning to shift from your work, right? So you don't have to impress your managers or management. You just do the work what you are paid for, take the rest of the time for learning. That's being professional. That should help
Yeah.
you in shifting towards your career towards data science. Lewis has another question. It's for me. Okay. Does a placement assistance team help students look for placements or job only in India? Okay. So I think it's mostly in India. All the success stories are coming from India, as I know, Lewis. But we also starting up in other countries. I don't know if the placement service is extended, but you can reach me because I am looking myself for people in other countries, especially in Europe and UK, for my own projects. So there is a lot of jobs. If you're from other countries, especially US, UK, um, uh, the one country which has a huge jobs right now is also Singapore, which we have been working. We have projects there. We struggle to get a people. Africa, I'm not sure. I haven't done any projects over there, but we do have a lot of African students studying in data science, DataMites, right? You can get that. So I have connections. Honestly, I don't think DataMites have any success stories in Africa, to my knowledge, right? But I can help you, Lewis. If you're good, I don't think country boundaries is not a barrier for your career in data science. That much I can tell you. Okay. Ankita has a question. Sir, can
Yeah.
you recommend which is better internship to take up projects individually or as a team? Well, it depends. I mean, I would say team because when you join a company, you are acting as a team. So it also helps you to um, better your team skills, right? I mean, you can obviously do your own data preparation and your own modeling and get some results. That's not right. But if you can also start working as a team to make a project better, assign different tasks to different people, that actually better. So my recommendation would be work as a team. Not more than three though, then it dilutes your input. So three team is really ideal. And that's a kind of team we see in companies as well when you set up a data science project, Ankita. Okay, that's all from June. Let me check YouTube, Facebook, and other channels. I have not much relevant questions in Facebook. Not much from. Okay, I have one question here. Let me just read it. Okay, not very relevant. I have in YouTube. I have one question from Jitendra Not from YouTube. Is AWS required for data science? That's a question to you, Dinesh, from your experience.
Yeah. So AWS is like a completely different platform. Yeah, like it's Amazon Web Service. So it has its own environment. You can like you can train your models and deploy everything using AWS, but that is a different skill. Like if you are more into cloud technologies and all, AWS would be a plus point. But as of now, being starting from a fresher or getting into a data scientist role, I think it is not that sufficient, or like that's not that required as of now.
Okay, so I agree with Dinesh. Those skills can be learned in a week, Sanjay. So you have a similar notebook, the one you do it in Jupyter Notebook here, you'll do it in AWS, right? The AWS has a SageMaker, it's one of the service, which will give you end to end from labeling the data to preparing the data, then training a model, even deploying it, right? You create an instance and endpoint directly in SageMaker. So if you read the SageMaker documentation, whatever you learn in a separate, like in a way that you do it in your own Jupyter Notebook and all Anaconda and stuff, can be done in a couple of days. So not only AWS, Azure or Google Cloud or any service provider who is essentially infrastructure providers, they have a very good documentation. It will take only a few days to a week to learn and start doing your models in the AWS, Jitendra. Okay. So answer is not necessary, and no one really gonna judge you whether you know AWS or not, because it's a matter of a week to get a hang of it. So, okay, so I have one more question from YouTube.
Yeah.
I can answer as well. Sanjay Raja asked a question: how impactful the internship provided by DataMites in your first job? The DataMites
Okay.
internship, how helpful is it? Is what the
Yeah.
question is.
So like the training as post training, I knew the concepts, but I didn't know how to apply or integrate it with the real time like problems of what is happening, right? What is the use of all these concepts in real time. So whatever the internship which I did had exposure of me to like getting to know like how to handle the data or how to handle the like how to train an algorithm properly and get the meaningful insights out of that. So yeah, it's just like kind of intercalated with everything. So not only the concepts but the practical knowledge is as impactful as the concepts.
Okay, wonderful. That answers the question. Thank you. Mohammed, anyone have a issue with the fees? What want to join as well? I'm sorry asking. Mohammed, you can. I'll just give you a care at datamites.com. You can directly send a mail, and that's, that depends on your location, your timing, and many other things, mode of learning. You can talk to DataMites. Ankita has one more question. Ankita
Yeah,
Das, how much SQL knowledge is required for data scientists, and whatever is thought is sufficient? SQL knowledge.
yeah. So being a fresher, if you're starting your journey as a fresher, no one is expecting you to like handle hefty amount of tasks in SQL. But yeah, you should be knowing basics like how to like query the data, or how to do inner journal, outer journal, how to create tables, and yeah, that must be sufficient for entry level data scientist.
Okay, I agree as well. When you say SQL, it comes up with a crude operation, right? You create, read,
Yeah,
update, and delete. When you come to
yes,
data science, you're only worried about reading, because
reading.
you're not really a software engineer structuring or creating database. Your work is
Yes,
to bring the data from the SQL databases to your Jupyter notebook or data frame, and then you start working on it. So how effectively you can connect and read the data, those are, I think it's few days to a week work. Yeah, whatever is covered is enough, and also you can just find a quick YouTube video. Within a couple of days you should be able to do it seamlessly, Ankita.
and they even provide the complete code snippets, like whatever, whenever you get stuck, you can like refer back. I had actually received from our trainer, so yeah, you won't find it difficult.
Yeah, so DataMites would have collated and given you snippets, which is useful. But I would say world is big. One quick query, search query in Google with the Stack Overflow,
Would,
whatever.
yes, you'll find hundreds of answers.
Correct, right. So answer is yes, it's covered in DataMites is enough. But this is a easy skill, and you can always query and learn whatever you want. Okay.
Yes.
I do not have any um, useful questions. At least I have someone raising hands. Richard, you have anything to ask over the mic? I already allowed you to speak. Have any question, Richard?
Good afternoon, Mr. Ashok.
Hey, good afternoon.
This is part of the students who are just enrolled in February. Now I want to bring this question. I am from South Sudan, that's Africa,
Okay.
and then all along, all our adverts that we see around us here, there is no advert leading to data science, something like that. I really don't know how best you can advise to me as a fresher who is coming up, because I was from a background of computer science, how best I can actually work to improve this career of data science until when I get my career as a data scientist up.
Okay, so I think it's more for me question, right? As I said, I even promised some of the person I'll do the research on African market, which I didn't do. I will try to do that. I will not answer anything without the proper data knowledge. So frankly, I have very less knowledge in the African market, but I can tell you, this is everywhere, right? And you might be the first people, or the maybe the wave in Africa is starting uh, a bit after the developed countries. It's the same everywhere, but India is an exception because we are kind of like a hub for the world, so we kind of catch up with the technology as we are the service providers, right? To simply answer a question, whatever the few opportunities you have in Africa, you'll be the first to grab because you are the first to move. So the direction you have taken is perfect. So learning data science is going to stay not just in one region in the world. It's everywhere. It's going to stay. It's going to excel. In next few years, you see a lot of industries, a lot of jobs moving towards it. In your region, you might be the wave might be just starting. So your direction is right. So you just keep focusing on it, and keep in touch with me. Maybe drop a mail, or and I'm just gonna give you my LinkedIn or my email. Let me do a bit of research on opportunities in Africa, where you are in the curve. Then I'll answer it more with the data, Richard. Is it okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Well, I can already tell in other countries, like in UK, there are 100,000 jobs which was not filled in 2021. I am planning to start a staffing company in UK, especially on this, because a lot of my friends who are in the very senior positions, director levels in the large companies in UK, they are begging for resources actually. So in UK, even if you know fundamentals, then you should be able to get a job, right? US the same story, and Singapore is the same story, right? That's the three regions I do projects. Of course, India is a very similar. Last year, India also have about 90,000 jobs left unfilled because of the resource unavailability. So it's about the attitude. I'll tell you, the knowledge itself is learnable. 6 months, I think 5 to 6 months is an average. Some people can even learn earlier. It's the attitude of being data scientist. It's a curiosity to solve a problem. That's what people look at. So when someone is not able to make their career switch quickly into the market, it's mostly their attitude towards the job. The data science is not something you stop learning. You keep on learning, you keep on updating yourself, and your attitude of learning, the learning attitude and the curiosity is what the employers are looking at. I hire people for my own company. So when I take interviews, I'm not very worried about if a potential colleague of if potential employee is lacking some advanced deep learning skills, or he's not able to explain a mathematics. I'm not worried about it. What I'll be worried about is curiosity to learn. If he's not curious, if he's just telling the same things he's telling and sticking to his one project, not very open, that's when we are not happy with the candidature. If someone is curious, know the basics, we are always willing to take them and try and even help him to learn and start contributing. Okay, I think that's all. We also taken all the time which is given to us. Any final questions? I'll give a few minutes.
Sure.
Looking at all the channels. As a question for me from YouTube, how is data science demand going in near future? Okay, so I can answer this. I switched myself to data science in 2016. Before that, I have about 20 years in this industry. About 16, 17 years, I went to analytics. So I was into analytics, managing EC commission projects. We have done a lot of data science projects in 2010 as well, but it's simply called as analytics projects that time. Right? 2016 is when we really started taking up the data science project. And I gave a lot of keynote speeches, so I do a lot of analysis, read McKinsey articles. We thought 2021 or 2020 will be a saturation. So 5 years is what we thought, things get saturated. But when I stand right now, I still see only 30% of the Fortune 100 companies have adapted to some extent. 70% of the Fortune 100 companies are still adapting, and the demand is actually exponentially rising. So when I stand at this point out and look at, it will take another at least 5 years to even get to near to saturation. When you say saturation, then stability. Right now it is a nascent stage. It is still a very growing domain, a lot of potential. Demand is exponentially growing. So what we predicted 5 years ago, it's not true. In fact, 5 years ago, we thought about 5 million jobs and 6 million jobs. Now we're talking about 50, 60 million jobs being created by data science. So all of the estimations we have done in 2015, data science and AI has beat it by very wide margin, 10 times more opportunities as of now, and it is just beginning. So the answer is, yeah, you have started late, but good thing, we are still at the early stages from an industry perspective from a data science. All right, so that's all. I'm closing the questionnaire. Thank you very much for all the people who joined in multiple channels. Thank you, Dinesh, for taking time. I really appreciate the people who have made a switch and being successful are the one who are aspiring. Someone like me, whatever I say may not relate to the people, as I always say. The people who have learned, switched, their words are more important to the learning community, because they're going to follow your footpath, right? Footprints.
Thank you.
So
thank you, sir.
Thank you for taking time. And I suggest you, I request you to also motivate others in your circle. India as a country, and in fact as a world, let's say, we need a lot of good data scientists.
Definitely, sir. Yeah. I would really like to thank Ashok Veda sir, for this opportunity, for letting me share my experience through this platform, and Fasana ma'am for helping me with placement assistance. and my trainers, Sohail sir and Hemant sir. I would really appreciate their efforts, which has been like valued me in my life. So yeah, I would be really grateful for everyone.
Okay, wonderful. I appreciate Fazana and the placements team overall for making this happen. Thank you very much. I wish you all the people in this session a very good luck in their career. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.